Mano, e pior que mexe esquisito demais.
Ele parece, sabe aquele lance? Você consegue captar.
From intense fighter jet encounters with UFOs to massive magnetic and natural anomalies, these mysteries can't be explained. First is the Varginha sighting. On a January afternoon, 1996, 3 women had a first encounter with an alien, or so they claim. They came across a lone figure with bumps on its head and red eyes. They fled as soon as they could, but soon the story spread across the city and numerous people were coming forwards with UFO sightings in the days prior. Others even claimed to have had evidence that the alien had been prowling the woods and stealing animals from the zoo. Allegedly, the creature was apprehended and brought to a secure hospital for an examination and autopsy. According to the police inquiry, though, the alien was actually a mentally ill local resident known as Mudinho, whose haggard and filthy appearance matched the descriptions from the women who saw him. Next is the 86 incident. On May 19th, 1986, a series of floating bright UFOs were both spotted on radar and by multiple eyewitnesses as they hovered nearby the SJK airport. Pilots attempted to chase the lights without success, while a nearby Air Force base was put on high alert and eventually scrambled flights to intercept. An F-5 fighter jet was scrambled first, following the contact as it flew out toward the sea and up to an altitude of 30,000 feet. Eventually, however, the F-5 ran out of fuel and was forced to turn back, but another jet, this time a Mirage 3, was soon scrambled as well. This jet didn't manage to visually identify the object, but did get 5 distinct radar contacts which it came within 2 miles of. Despite the jet closing at supersonic speeds, the contacts soon raced away and vanished, reaching an estimated Mach 15 to escape from the intercepting fighter. In total, 21 radar contacts had been identified in the span of a dozen hours, but no one had any idea what they were or why they were here. To this day, no one knows what the incident was or what these craft were, as they were capable of hovering as well as reaching hypersonic speeds, could reach up to 40,000 feet, had super maneuverability, and seemed to show some level of coordination and intelligence. Next is the Meeting of Waters. The Meeting of the Waters is one of the most incredible sights Brazil has to offer. Here, near the city of Manaus, the reddish-brown Amazon meets the dark-black Rio Negro, and for a 6-kilometer stretch of river, neither side mixes with the other, and still for another 30 kilometers they maintain some level of separation. The differences in temperature, speed, and content are responsible for their lack of mixing, but the specifics are still a little blurry. The Rio Negro is slower and warmer than the Amazon, while the Amazon's lighter colored water is rich in minerals and sediment. The black water of the Rio Negro is almost totally sediment-free, and is colored so because of the decaying plant matter and leaching tannins that reach into the water. Many animals, including the massive red-tailed catfish, use this boundary to hunt, as fish can be stunned by the sudden changes in temperature and content. Next is Poço Encantado. Within the Chapada Diamantina National Park lies an otherworldly cave, which experiences a phenomenon rarely seen elsewhere in the world. Plenty of flooded caves have crystal clear water, as long as you don't disturb any silt, but very, very few in the world look like this. Poço Encantado is technically a cavern having an open top, but when the sun shines directly into the water, it cuts clear through to the very bottom of the cave. Now, look at this photo. How deep do you think this is? The perfectly clear water makes it seem like you could reach the bottom without much difficulty at all, right? Well, except this is 30 to 60 meters deep. That's deeper than a recreational open water diver is even legally allowed to go. Thankfully, Poço Encantado is not a popular dive site and has not experienced any fatalities by foolish and inexperienced divers trying to reach too deep. Next is the Joelma building. Now renamed to Praça da Bandeira, Joelma was the horrifying and tragic site of one of the worst single fires in human history. Due to faulty wiring, the entire building burst into flame almost at once, being fully consumed in the inferno in under 20 minutes from the first spark. Nearly 500 people could not escape the fire, with many being trapped in the upper levels of the 25-story tall building. Allegedly, the building to this day is deeply haunted, with a recurring theme being the sighting of ghosts belonging to 13 people who were allegedly trapped inside an elevator during the blaze. Despite it being nearly 50 years since the tragedy, the horror of that day clings to this building and haunts its residents even now. And finally is the South Atlantic anomaly. Covering Brazil and the South Atlantic, the SAA is the weakest part of Earth's magnetic field, and not by a small amount either. It is massively weaker than the rest of the Earth, so much so that satellites that pass through this zone need to have significant extra shielding in order to protect them from the massive amounts of ionizing radiation present. See, usually our Van Allen radiation belt and magnetic field inhibit and degrade this radiation significantly, but not so for the SAA. This is because the axis of Earth's rotation is not aligned to the magnetic axis, and the SAA is actually the farthest point away from where the magnetic axis is. Worse, the magnetic field is only weakening as time goes on, and the South Atlantic anomaly is growing steadily with time. Some hypothesize this could be a precursor to a massive magnetic pole shift, but truly we don't fully understand the situation.
We recently found some really cool fossils in South America. Now, the discovery of this fossil site in Argentina is actually helping shed a new light on life at the end of the Cretaceous, the time period just before the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct. Matthew Lamanana, a paleontologist and the principal dinosaur researcher at Carnegie Museum of Natural History, described exciting fossil finds from the site known as Canadon Thomas Quarry. He said, in general, dinosaurs and other continental vertebrates from the Cretaceous tend to be less known from the southern hemisphere than they are from the northern, and that creates an imbalance in our understanding of biodiversity, evolution, and paleobiogeography, says Matthew. The Canadon Thomas site was first discovered in early 2020 due to petroleum interest in the region. Oil companies were required to carry out a paleontological impact study before they could begin work, and the study soon uncovered dinosaur fossils, which is just like so cool. Now, continued excavations of the site have revealed dozens of bones from hadrosaurs. Now, these plant eaters are common and well known in the northern hemisphere sites from late Cretaceous times, but they are rare and poorly known from southern hemisphere sites, which makes this find even more exciting. Now, moving on to this armadillo. More than 20,000 years ago in what's now Argentina, some of the earliest people in the Americas encountered and butchered a giant armadillo-like creature with stone tools, according to a new study. Now, the discovery, inferred from cut marks on the Ice Age creature's fossilized remains, is significant because it adds to the recent finds that suggest the Americas were settled far earlier than archaeologists initially thought, perhaps more than 25,000 years ago. Now, these animals are closely related to the still living armadillos, said study co-author Miguel Delago, a researcher at the National University of La Plata in Buenos Aires. Radiocarbon dates from the bones and bivalve shells found in the same layer of sediment reveals the armadillo remains were between 20,811 and 21,090 years old, according to the study published. The authors provided convincing evidence that people butchered this extinct armadillo 21,000 years ago, said Brianna Pobner, a research scientist at the Human Origins Program at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. Now, when and how early humans first migrated to North and South America has long been debated by experts and remains poorly understood. Current estimates for the first inhabitants range from 13,000 years ago to more than 20,000 years ago, but this find might just prove us humans were there earlier. Then there's the secret cities that they found. Yep, you heard that right. Using laser scanning technology, researchers have found traces of 2,500-year-old cities in the Amazon rainforest. Now, these cities are just like ours, complete with a complex network of farmland and roads. Now, the discovery is the oldest and largest of its kind in the region. Located in Ecuador's Opano Valley, the dense system of pre-Columbian structures lies in the eastern foothills of the Andes Mountains. Now, over 20 years of research have been done for the find, but it wasn't until the Ecuadorian government employed LIDAR, a remote sensing technology that surveys a landscape using lasers, that the ancient cities came to light. I've explored this site many times, but LIDAR gave me another view of the land, archaeologist Stephen Russlin, lead author of the study and director of research at the French National Center for Scientific Research, said. Rothstein knew from how his many ground expeditions that laser imaging would reveal new structures, but he hadn't predicted the scale of their results. Now, covering roughly 300 square kilometers, images from the LIDAR survey revealed a landscape full of organized organized human activities. Now these included more than 6,000 rectangular earthen platforms, as well as agricultural terraces and drainage systems. The researchers say these structures formed at least 15 distinct settlements, which were connected by a system of wide, straight roads. Now it's truly amazing what technology can help us achieve, because if they didn't use the LiDAR, who knows if we ever would have found these places. And to end off this video, we've recently found some new cave paintings, which are said to be the earliest dated cave paintings in South America in Argentine, Patagonia, dating back 8,200 years. The 195 paintings were found by Argentine and Chilean archaeologists in the Hernal 1 cave, a 630 square meter rock shelter some 1,100 kilometers southwest of the capital of Buenos Aires. We were able to date 4 black penniform patterns that were drawn in charcoal. These provide to be the earliest and direct dating of cave paintings in South America, said Dr. Guadalupe Romero Villanueva, author of research published in the Sciences Advances journal. Now the Argentinian archaeologist said the discovery indicates that the production of the cave art began in the Hernal cave around 8,000 years ago, and that the practice of painting the particular pattern seen in the cave was sustained for a period of at least 3,000 years. Now the discovery provides evidence of artistic ability from a period roughly from 7,000 to 5,000 years ago, and serves as a mean of communication between scattered populations. Well, that's all for our list of secret anomalies that have recently been discovered in South America. I wonder what else we'll find in the upcoming years. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's about strange anomalies that were found in the Amazon rainforest. We have delved deep into the mysteries of the jungle to see what we could find, and the answers might shock you. What are you waiting for? Click the video now to find out more.